This is Brandon with Fleet Feet, and today I'm going to be comparing 3 different daily trainers from ASICS. The Novablast 4, Cumulus 26, and the Nimbus 26. The Cumulus and the Nimbus are both legends on their 26th version. The Novablast is on its 4th iteration, making it much younger than the other 2. This video is mainly to compare all 3 of these shoes, but as well as give a little bit of insight on where they are in the line and sort of what they do, what they don't do, what their different use cases are. I won't really be getting into too many nerdy specs in this. If you want to learn more about those nerdy specs and a little bit more of a deep dive into all these shoes, I would recommend that you go to the Fleet Feet blog and check out all of the full reviews there, or check out some of our YouTuber videos that we have online. Starting with the Novablast has a woven upper. It does not have a plate in this shoe. It is made of Flight Foam Blast Plus Eco, which is a more bio-friendly version of Flight Foam Blast Plus, and it has a Harlow outsole, which is just a rubber outsole compound from ASICS that I think is much improved from the 3rd to the 4th model. So ASICS is basically framing and positioning this shoe as their highest energy return daily trainer. It is also a lightweight training option, and it is a great option for anyone who's looking to pick up the pace in their daily trainers. The Cumulus has a mesh upper. It does not have a plate in the shoe. It has pure gel in the heel, as well as Flight Foam Blast Plus running through the midsole, and it has a blend of EVA and rubber on the outsole, which they call Fluid Ride outsole, to provide a little bit more traction and support underfoot. ASICS basically says that this is their neutral daily trainer. It is not their max cushion option. It is not their fastest option. It is right in the middle. And then you have the Nimbus 26. Doesn't have a plate in it. It does have Flight Foam Blast Plus running throughout the shoe, as well as pure gel in the heel, and it is comprised of a hybrid of 2 rubbers for their outsole. This is the max cushion daily trainer option from ASICS. ASICS is basically positioning this and saying, not only will you get the most plush ride, you're also going to get a very cushioned one. You're gonna get a higher stack in this shoe than you would in the Nimbus or the Cumulus. So if it's for someone who's looking for that max cushion, a little bit more of an easygoing ride underfoot. So starting with the Novablast, I think it's important to talk a little bit about the transition from the 3rd to the 4th model. I think the 3rd one had a little bit more energy return in it, and a little bit more pop and a little bit more bounce than in the 4th model. The 4th model also gained about 10 millimeters of foam underfoot, making it a little bit more cushioned, a little bit more of a higher stack option as well. Most of the team did agree that with the addition of the 10 millimeters that this shoe is now much more of a high cushion daily trainer option than it was in the past. I tend to also agree with that. The Fleet Feet team also found this shoe to be quite highly responsive, and now this is something that I kind of disagree with a little bit. While the shoe does have some decent levels of response, they're not as strong of a responsiveness level as that in the 3rd model. So the 4th model to me is just a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more cushioned, and from ASICS I expected something that was just a little bit more fast, a little bit more nimble, and a little bit more of a pop on toe off. However, in their reviews, Nate, Kate, and Caroline all commended the midsole for being very poppy, propulsive, and energetic underfoot. Max also found that even though this shoe is a much higher stack option than that of the 3rd model, he didn't have any stability issues in this shoe. I tend to agree with this as well. I didn't have any stability issues in this shoe, though I like a high stack shoe and generally don't find any stability issues anyway in these shoes, but generally speaking, I think that there's a wide enough base here that you're not gonna have any stability issues. For the Cumulus, ASICS, again, like I said, is positioning this as their neutral daily trainer option. It's a shoe that I am like, why would I pick this over the Novablast? It's, in my opinion, less responsive than the Novablast. It has a lower stack than the Novablast, and I like a higher stack, and it's not as soft as the Novablast, and I like a softer shoe. So why would I pick the Cumulus over the Novablast? I'm not so sure. If you're someone who likes a little bit of a firmer ride, if you're someone who has all of the opposite things to like about a shoe, if you like a firmer option, a little bit of a lower stack than the Novablast, and you just want something that's a little bit more basic for walking and running a few miles, then the Cumulus is a great option for that. The Fleet Feet team overall found that this shoe was not a very responsive one, which I tend to agree. The team, as well as myself, also agree that it is most similar to something of a Saucony ride. I think that this falls pretty much in line with a lot of other daily trainers that are out there right now. A lot of the time, the Cumulus does get a bad rap for being the less exciting version of the Nimbus 26. For me personally, I like the Nimbus 26 more. Nate seems to disagree. Nate likes the Cumulus more. He likes a little bit of a lower profile, firmer feel underfoot. So for Nate, he's gonna pick the Cumulus every day over the Nimbus. Speaking of Nimbus, let's get into it. ASICS is positioning this shoe as their max cushion daily trainer option. It is also going to be the most plush and the most relaxed underfoot. I agree. I think that this shoe is very relaxed. I think it is very cushioned. I think it is very plush feel underfoot. I think if it's something where you don't want any ground feel and it is very high stack, then this is a great option for you. This is really meant for those people who are trying to eat up miles and just want a relaxed cushion feel underfoot. Most of the team agrees that the 25th model is a touch softer than the 26th version. I have the 25th version here and it was definitely much softer, especially when I'm just feeling the foams here and the difference of these shoes. In step and feel, when I was running in both these shoes, I found that this shoe was much softer than this one. ASICS has definitely firmed up the Nimbus 26 just a little bit more than from their previous model. The team as a whole agrees that this is a very max cushion plush option. I tend to agree with that as well. I think that overall across the board, it's hard to deny that this is a very plush max cushion option ride that you're looking for. Now, where a little bit of discourse starts to come in is that the team seems to find this shoe to be a little bit more responsive of a ride underfoot. I disagree. I think that this is a very relaxed shoe. So if this is something that you just want to cruise in, you just want to relax in, you don't want to run too fast in, that's what I would put this shoe on for. I don't think I would want to put this shoe on for faster miles or more responsive rides. However, this is just my opinion on it. My team seemed to disagree with that. There are 3 specs that I do want to talk about next in all of these shoes, which is the price, the stack, and the weight. So the Nimbus is going to come in around $160, whereas the Cumulus and the Novablast are both going to come in at $140. Is the $20 going to be the make or break between deciding on getting the Novablast and the Cumulus over the Nimbus? That's going to be up to you. Personally, I think that the extra $20 is worth it, but that's because I like a more cushioned shoe. I think you're probably going to get more miles in this shoe. So overall, if you want a little bit more of that bang for your buck and a little bit more durability and longevity in your shoe, then I think the Nimbus is going to be a good option on that. If you were just deciding on price between these 2 shoes for the Novablast or the Cumulus, I think the Novablast is just a little bit more fun. So I would choose this one over the Cumulus. Now moving on to stack. Stack, of course, you guessed it, the Nimbus is going to have the highest stack, whereas the Novablast is going to have the second highest stack, and the Cumulus is going to be the lowest profile ride with the lowest stack. So if you're looking for something with a little bit more of a minimum ground feel coverage, then the Cumulus wins. If you're looking for something with a lot of cushion feel and you don't want to feel the ground at all, then I would pick the Nimbus. And the last thing we have to talk about is weight. And the clear winner here is the Novablast. From the 3rd model, it was really, really light and it's gained about an ounce. So it is getting a little bit closer to that Cumulus weight, but it is still slightly lighter than the Cumulus. So it does win out in that category. This is where the Nimbus really fails, unfortunately. It's going to be much heavier in weight than both the Novablast and the Cumulus. But if you're someone who doesn't really care that much about weight and you don't really find it being much of an issue and you like a max cushion option and you don't really care about the weight under your foot, then the Nimbus is still a great ride. The team had a lot of different opinions on these. There were people that liked the Novablast, the Cumulus, and Nimbus for all different reasons. Personally, for me, if I were to pick kind of all 3 of these shoes and I'm like, which one do I want to go for? Which one am I looking for? I think I'd just toss the Cumulus altogether. It's a good shoe, but personally for me, I think there are better options like the Novablast, for example. The Novablast is just going to be a little bit more responsive, a little bit more fun. There's going to be more pep in that step. You can do more with it. I can take it out on long runs. I can take it for workouts and anywhere in between. The only thing I wouldn't do is race in this shoe, but that's fine because there are racing options from ASICS like that one back there. I personally love the Novablast and that's the shoe that I'm going to pick for like 90% of my runs. If I want something more relaxed, then I'll probably go with the Nimbus. Overall, I do think between these 3 shoes, the Novablast, the Cumulus, and the Nimbus, you can't really go wrong. It's really just down to preference and really something that you're looking for. If you want a more in-depth review of these shoes, then I would check them out on the blog or on our YouTube page. We always want you to make sure that you are giving this video a like, giving us a subscribe, follow us on YouTube and Instagram and Strava. We've got a blog that has all of these reviews that Caroline has wrote and Kate and a bunch of the other reviewers on the team. So definitely go check that out. We are everywhere. So give us a like, give us a follow on all of our platforms. There is like a little like alert ding bell if you want to get notifications for when a a new video is posted from Fleet Feet, so make sure and click that bell. Make sure you're getting those alerts every single time. So go follow us on all these platforms and make sure to stay tuned for when our next video comes out.